Hello, good morning. Welcome to Gaming Insight Daily for Monday, June 23rd, 2025. I'm Steve Saylor. This is your daily show of gaming news, accessibility news, or updates about my life. I have iced coffee from McDonald's today. You probably see and maybe hear a fan in the background. Reason being is that my AC decided to not want to work well and play with others this weekend, and it is currently 81 degrees in my apartment. Yep. So last night's sleep was fun. But I wanted to at least get this video out today, so please forgive me if I may seem distracted or what have you. It's just hot and humid in my apartment, and the best I can be able to do is just talk about video games. So I'm trying to do that to be able to distract myself from how hot and humid it is right now. So today I want to talk about my review of Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Now, normally I would actually do this as a more proper scripted review, but unfortunately, just because of the AC going out, I had to deal with that. Plus, also, I did do a 24-hour stream on Friday going into Saturday of me playing The Last of Us Part 2. I did beat the game from beginning to end. I played the entire way through. Final time was 19 hours and 48 minutes of playtime, but it was a total of 24-hour stream, so it was a great time. I hope you, if you made it there or if you watched a little bit of it, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So with all that going on this weekend, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do a proper scripted review of this, but at least I wanted to sit down and talk about my thoughts on the day of embargo for for Death Stranding 2 on the beach. For accessibility. So I'm just going to say this up front. This game is not accessible. If you want the TLDR of it, you could probably leave now and you could like that's it. There we go. It's not accessible. I really do wish it was. I do feel that Kojima is one of those most prolific video game auteurs that we have. He is very much wanting to change expectations when it comes to playing video games. He very much wants to, like even with the news story of him finding out that all the playtests, a lot of people loved it, so he's like, no, and I need to change that because I need it to be. If everyone loves it, then it's mainstream, and he does not, and he wants to be kind of a that's very punk artist of him, and I get that, but I do think that, and I think that like his art is very much within the eye of the beholder, of course. And I think a lot of artists are like that. It's very much, they leave it up to interpretation within the player themselves to be able to interpret what Kojima might be trying to say. Sometimes he is very overt, sometimes he's very subtle. And he kind of combines that too, and he kind of finds that fine line of narrative storytelling versus gameplay that really tries to talk about his sort of thoughts about the world and see it through his lens. And I think that even with playing Death Stranding 1, I just recently played that kind of as much as I could, and I could definitely see the throughput of what he was trying to build, like of the narrative he was trying to tell. Obviously now kind of looking back on it after the pandemic, it definitely made a lot more sense, and you could say that he's more prophetic in that regard, and it just, but I think it was just kind of right timing that this game came out, and we all needed to connect, and we all were inside, and we couldn't be able to get outside. And so being able to connect each other through strands was a way for us to be able to stay together and stay connected to each other. And I feel like that you could definitely feel that a lot within the game. And then seeing through kind of a sci-fi lens that Kojima likes to be able to reveal. And Death Stranding 2, from what I've been able to play, is very similar. It's in this case, we've now are connected, but it's like, now what do you do? Like, what is the responsibility of being connected afterwards? I will say I have not played this through to completion, even though we were given a very gracious amount of time to play this game. We received the review codes very early in June to be able, so we basically were kind of given 3 weeks to be able to play this. And I tried. I really did try to play this as much as I possibly could. But I got maybe about 6 to 7 hours in, and I just couldn't play it anymore. It was getting to the point where a lot of my frustrations that I had with the first one that I thought I could be able to kind of handle within this within the second one. And yes, some things were improved and some things, but some things very much stayed the same. And it is a shame, honestly. I really do feel that I actually had a hope that with Kojima's relationship with PlayStation, that PlayStation could have maybe encouraged him to be able to make the game more accessible. But I think probably PlayStation was very much like, no, just leave him alone. He knows what he's doing, and we'll just let him make his game. Make him don't want to interfere with Kojima Productions. But I do feel it's not to say I wish that Sony would have forced accessibility on Kojima. I just wish that somebody would have been able to at least have a conversation with Kojima about accessibility, and hopefully maybe kind of broken through in that regard. I'm not to say that may not have happened. I don't know. And again, I don't want to say that we're also talking about Asian culture, and it's still very much they want to hide disability than not necessarily try to help people with accessibility. So there is a bit of that, obviously, but I had hoped that maybe the time between Death Stranding 1 and now 2, that there would have at least been some accommodations based on feedback from people playing the game that he might have taken into consideration. That's just good for everybody. And basically, he kind of took the same engine, obviously with Decima Engine, and just really this kind of updated the systems a little bit to be able to make it a little bit more efficient, and so you're not having to be able to click as many buttons as you did in Death Stranding 1, but it still is very much the same game as Death Stranding 1, just in a prettier, more quality of life improvement shell. And I wish that quality of life would have included accessibility, but it doesn't. I'm going to show a little bit of at least the settings just to kind of give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. So they do have some things. You can be able to adjust difficulty. You can be able to adjust basically a few things here and there. There is a lot more options actually than in this than there was in the previous game. So we do have that. Actually, I want to be able to get into here, because you can be able to adjust things for toggle and holds in some cases. You can have aim assist that helps you with being able to auto target enemies, which does help. I did appreciate that. You can be able to set it from off, weak, medium, or strong, and you can be able to set the eye vibration intensity and stuff like that. And then if you jump into others, there is a lot more control options for controls than there have been in the past. There is a lot more of sensitivity options, a lot more kind of speed options for different controls. There's a lot you can be able to set to auto center for certain camera angles. So there is a lot. I would say probably motor disabled players might actually be interested in being able to play this. I think when it comes to PC, I think it probably will be the best. It doesn't look like you could be able to change or remap any of the controls, but they do offer at least the ability to be able to adjust any of the thumbsticks or movements, or to be able to kind of make that using the joysticks a little bit more comfortable for you to be able to play. And then beyond that, they do have subtitles, and they do include speaker names this time instead of where they did not before. And that's basically about it as far as the settings. I really did try to be able to change to take a look, and even when this is the settings menu that I'm showing right now that comes up whenever you open up the main menu for the title menu for the first time. And I thought that maybe there might be some new settings that were added on, or that you can be able to get access to once you're able to get into the game proper, and it's the same options menu, unless there's maybe there potentially might be one or two new options that have been added, but from what I can tell, there is no other additional options for the game. And I'll bring up the other, or basically now that we'll kind of get started in gameplay, and I'll just kind of show you what it feels like. So the thing that is different now than it did in the past was that there was combat in the first one, but this one actually does have a little bit more extra in there to kind of help with sort of stealth, as it were. It actually, you can, one of the good things is actually there is a quality of life in that when you are going stealth, you actually can take your backpack off, so that way you're not burdened by your cargo if you want to be able to kind of sneak around better, and I did appreciate that actually as something that I wish was in the first game, because there was constantly all the time where I just couldn't move fast enough because my cargo was just too big, and so they did kind of improve the combat in this, but also with that caveat, I also had trouble with any of the times that I was forced into combat. There was a section actually when you kind of a little bit later on where you have to sort of infiltrate and take out all the kind of the mules within a specific location. I'm trying to do this without spoilers. And I tried it probably about 4 or 5 times before all of a sudden every enemy was on me, and I couldn't figure out or remember what my melee was, or if there was any melee, because the button that used to be melee in the first game wasn't that in this game. So I couldn't hit anybody close because I was trying to shoot them and they kept hitting me, and I kept losing my cargo, and every single time I tried to do it differently, I just couldn't get it to work. It is geared to more towards if you could stay stealth, it's better to stay stealth. And unfortunately, it just not. It's difficult to see enemies at times. You can target them a little bit. You do have this sort of new mechanic with a doll man, which is a new, kind of a talking doll, which actually is a kind of neat little animation. Basically it has almost like everything's running at 12 frames per second, which is cool. And he talks to you. Actually, if I don't know if anyone's ever a Christian who watches the show, but if you know the show The Chosen, the story of Jesus Christ, there's a TV show that's it's on Amazon Prime right now, but literally the guy who plays Jesus is playing Dollman in this. I just thought that's kind of a neat little casting choice there. I like that. But again, it's like that's the only thing that was different, that I felt that was different in this than a previous. Otherwise, you're pretty much kind of going through a lot of the same motions. Again, this is only after 6 or 7 hours of playing this, so I don't know whether or not this does improve or the gameplay changes as you go, but for the most part, you're still trying to be able to deliver packages. You're still trying to be able to connect to the world, or in this case, Australia, because that is the main location of the game. And the only additional thing, again, is just being able to do combat, which is stealth combat, which again, that was probably my most fun aspect of the game. I just don't know why, for whatever the encounter that was in, it just got so frustrated. I just don't want to play this anymore. I think that was the breaking point for me. And as you can see, within this gameplay, there is not a lot of there's a very, very small text throughout the entire game. It's similar to the first game. Actually, let me see if I can bring up a menu here, here we go. Yeah, you can see just how small this little descriptive text is. It's just so tiny. It's so tiny, and the contrast is terrible. There's no background for any subtitles. There's no. It's just the systems are still too overwhelming of having to be able to control where your cargo is, where your cargo is, and having to be able to balance that cargo properly, and what cargo do you need to be able to fulfill a mission. And what kind of things you need to build in order to be able to kind of help you within those missions. It is by far probably the least accessible game that I have played in a very long while. And the other least accessible game that I played in a long while is Death Stranding 1. It is definitely something that I wish you could be able to play this as a disabled player, but it's just absolutely I can't recommend this. I honestly can't. Like, even with the additional quality of life improvements, I will say this: if you were able to play Death Stranding 1, and you probably think that there is some like maybe some of the quality of life improvements could, like, because they do, instead of like creating like 10 steps in order to be able to do a thing, they do simplify it by a little bit, not a huge amount, but they do simplify it a tiny bit of how to be able to manage your cargo and have to be able to navigate the world. And the map is definitely improved. I actually do appreciate the map a little bit better in actually that regard, because you do get to see actually kind of a little bit more of kind of like in more of a 3D plane of where things are, which was something I did have issues with in the first game, because there was oftentimes I would plan out a route to be able to go to a destination, and unfortunately I just couldn't tell the elevation or any particular path to be able to take in order to be able to go. So I would get to a point where I think I'm gonna be okay, but it's it's way too steep. I don't have the proper materials or items to be able to help me navigate it, so I have to kind of find another route. But in this, there is a lot more of a in the new map, there's a topographical map essentially that gives you height and distance, and even like icons for where you are located versus where the things are located. And you can be able to plan out your routes a little bit more properly this time than before. And you can actually be able to kind of change a few things when you're kind of going through your mission sort of you're planning a route, because you can actually be able to sort of fabricate equipment a little bit easier while you're in this route simulator essentially, or this kind of like section of the when you're choosing your new order to be able to go and deliver stuff. So it is improved a little bit with some quality of life. It's just, if you're hoping for some basic quality of life improvements, like either a larger text size, it being a little less cumbersome, or just a little bit more easier to control, I really don't think that this is going to be a game for you at all, unless it basically comes to PC, which will help with probably remapping, if you can be able to remap on PC with mouse and keyboard, but that's generally about it. So I wish I could be able to say that there was anything I could say that was good for accessibility in this, and I'm really trying. Like, yeah, aim assist is okay, it works, but navigation wise, still same as the first one, where you have this route that you can be able to sort of plan, and there is a little bit of an audio effect that lets you can see the route laid out in the environment or in your HUD, and where you need to go. There's a little bit of an audio cue whenever you are right on that route, but oftentimes that route is probably not the best route to be able to take, and you have to kind of go around certain things or up and down certain things to kind of go away from that route. So it's not the best way to be able to navigate, so I can't even suggest that as a navigational assistance. And I know that probably a lot of people today are probably going to talk about this game being potentially a game of the year. And I wish, again, kind of, I'm sick and tired of seeing games that are potential games of the year without any accessibility. The last time it's very rare that we ever get that. I mean, we get The Last of Us, we get maybe Forza Motorsport, we get Spider-Man 2, but that's it. That's really kind of it. We don't get a lot of games that are not only potential game of the year contenders, but also very accessible. And this is one of those games, that's just, people are going to talk about as game of the year, but it's going to be like inaccessible. And I'm sad about that. I really do. I tweeted this out before, or I posted this on Blue Sky before. I would love to have a sit-down conversation with Kojima about accessibility. Not to berate him for any way, shape, or form, but just to maybe like give him a new perspective, a new POV of how people want to be able to play his games, and they can't because of a lack of accessibility. And here's the thing: I will guarantee that Kojima wants people to play his games. There is no game developer I've ever talked to that doesn't want that doesn't want people to play their games. But unfortunately, because of this game being inaccessible, and I would be willing to bet there's probably not anyone on his team that was able to at least approve any type of accessibility in this. I really I would love to have a conversation with Kojima, and hopefully maybe I would love to see him make a game and see that what disability and accessibility is like through his lens, through his POV. I would be very curious to see like if he has a story that he can be able to tell with that and do it properly and do it proper disabled representation. But I don't think that that's going to be that going to happen at least anytime soon. I don't know. Maybe it's pie in the sky. I would love to. I would love to be able to sit down with him. It's like with that, but that's I don't know anyone who like personally who knows Kojima, so I'm gonna have to take it as a pie in the sky dream at this point. So yeah, if you want a rating of this game for accessibility, I have to give it a 1 out of 5. Yeah, the quality of life improvements over the first game is nice, but it's definitely not anywhere close to being as accessible as I hoped it would be. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to give it. There's just nothing there. There's no captions for any other on screen, like any off screen sort of sounds. There is subtitles, and you can adjust the subtitle size. But even then, all the additional improvement of the speaker tags. Yeah, sure, okay. But it doesn't even carry over some of the accessibility from the first one with being able to increase the text size to a larger amount. You don't even have that option anymore, so that's gone. There's no remapping of controls. There's no navigational assist. There's no screen reader. There's no cognitive accessibility whatsoever. Maybe improvements on the map, but that's kind of really it. There's just nothing of the standard kind of accessibility that you would see in either the accessibility game, like the gaming accessibility tags, or anything like that at all. And I'm disappointed. I really am. I was really hoping that this game was going to be more accessible, and I just can't recommend it at all. I'm sorry. I know this probably might be either a very controversial take or not. I don't know, but it's disappointing. I can't play it. I can't play it. That's just what it comes down to. I can't play it. And if you are able to, God bless you. That's awesome. I would love to be able to hear your thoughts on that. But as far as anything standard accessibility that we've kind of gotten used to over the past couple of years of studios actually making an effort for accessibility, I can't recommend this game at all. So anyway, I'd love to really hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Death Stranding 2? What are your thoughts on Death Stranding 1 if you played that? And what are your thoughts of the accessibility like within the game or not? I'd love to really hear your comments down below. That's gonna be it for today's episode. I'm gonna keep it short because again, I am also in a very hot apartment, and these lights are now starting to make me sweat. Take care, have yourself a great day, and hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow, and I'll be a little bit more energetic because my AC will hopefully be fixed. We'll see. I don't even know if there's anyone going to be coming out to fix it today. But we'll see. All right, take care. Have yourself a good one. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.